Hello, welcome to News Review from BBC Learning English. I'm Tom. Joining me this morning is Catherine. Hi, Catherine.
Hello, Tom. Hello, everybody. Yes, there is a new report which is asking if the health of Olympic athletes is at risk because of climate change.
And don't forget, if you want to test yourself on today's language, we have a quiz at the website bbclearningenglish.com. Now, let's hear more about this story from a BBC News report.
A new report suggests that climate change could put the health of Olympic athletes at risk during the forthcoming Tokyo Games. The British Association for Sustainable Sport says mean temperatures in the Japanese capital have risen 3 times faster than global averages over the last century. The city frequently hits 35 degrees Celsius with humidity levels above 70%. The group says such conditions pose a risk to athletes.
Yes, there's a new report out about the effects of climate change on the health of Olympic athletes. Now, it turns out that the temperature has risen in Tokyo 3 times as much as it has in other places around the world. This causes extreme heat, which the report says will put the health of Olympic athletes at risk.
Okay, and we've got 3 words and expressions that our audience can use to talk about this story today, right?
Right, we have mean, tame and adversely.
Mean, tame, adversely. Catherine, let's have a look at your first piece of language, please.
Yes, we're in the United States. We are looking at part of the story and it goes like this from Newswise. The mean annual temperature in Tokyo, the capital city and host of the 2021 Olympics, has risen by 2.86 degrees Celsius since 1900.
Mean, average. What can you tell us about mean, Catherine?
Okay, I'm actually not going to tell you, Tom, because I don't like you very much.
What do you mean? That's a bit mean. Mean. Okay, so there's clearly a lot of meanings of this word mean. This word mean represents many things. What does it represent here, Catherine?
Okay, today we're looking at mean in a mathematical sense. Mean is a mathematical term and it means average.
Average, okay. And here it's an adjective, right? Because we're talking about the mean annual temperature or the average annual temperatures.
Yes, it's an adjective spelled M-E-A-N, and we can also use it as a noun. You can talk about the mean, which means the average. So what's all this average about? Well, let's give you a demonstration with Rob and his biscuit consumption. I was measuring his biscuit consumption. I did an observation study of him and I discovered that on Monday he ate 5 biscuits. On Tuesday he ate 4 biscuits and on Wednesday he ate 3 biscuits.
So that's 12 biscuits total, right?
Yes, but I divided that by the number of days that I was doing my study on, and that makes an average or a mean of 4 biscuits. His daily consumption was a mean 4 biscuits.
So the mean value is 4, or the average value is 4. Or we could just say the mean is 4. Cool, okay. I mean, this is all good, this mathematical talk, but why is it important that people know this?
Well, it's important if you're studying mathematics or if you're working in that field. The word mean is used frequently. Average is your everyday English term. It's good to know both of them because you will see both terminologies. And also, if you're doing an exam such as IELTS, it's good to show off your English and show that you know these words.
You can show off that you know all the meanings of the word mean, if you know what I mean. Okay, thank you very much, Catherine. Let's move on to our summary slide, please. So we've seen that mean can have many meanings, but sometimes people can have many meanings as well. And Phil, my colleague, did a show about this, right, Catherine?
He did, because it turns out that people don't always mean what you think they mean. So he did a show called What They Really Mean, and you can find out what they really mean by clicking the link.
Okay, wonderful. Right, great. Catherine, let's have a look at your second piece of language today, please.
Yes, we're in the Daily Mail here in the UK now. The headline, revealed, Team GB's secret computerised pill to help tame the stifling heat and humidity at the Tokyo Olympics. It's actually quite a long headline. I've just given you the first half there.
Fantastic. Okay, so tame, control something that was once wild. What can you tell us about this word, Catherine?
Okay, so it's a verb to tame, T-A-M-E, and we often use this when we mean to control or domesticate a wild animal.
Okay, so tame is to make something that was wild sort of controllable. Can you give us an example of this?
Well, I can actually, funnily enough. There was a bird who used to live in the garden, but it started coming into the house. And it became kind of more and more used to humans. And in the end, this bird lived in the house. It was a wild bird, a blackbird. It ate with the family. It slept in the house. It was actually, lived with us and lost its fear of humans. So it was pretty tame, a tame bird.
So an animal can be tame, or to make an animal tame, we need to tame it. Are there any other ways that we can use this word?
Well, it's not just for animals, it's for anything that's kind of hard to control and then you get it under control. So a lot of us have had problems with our lockdown hair, haven't we, Tom?
I don't know what you mean, Catherine.
Getting wilder and wilder, and we've had, we have to tame our wild and crazy hair. That's one way. You often talk about taming hair. You can tame a toddler, a child. We don't actually kind of, do anything. It's more a case of socializing. So we can use it in anything that's a little bit out of control. You can use the word to tame to bring something under control.
So something that's not wild is tame. And you can also use this in a negative way, can't you? Like if something's not very exciting.
Yeah, you can. If you go to the cinema and you're expecting a really exciting action film and it's actually not that exciting, the effects aren't that good, the action's a bit underwhelming, a bit boring, you can say, well, that was a bit tame. A
bit tame, right? Okay, great. So hopefully you guys aren't finding this episode of News Review a bit tame.
No, it's wild.
And to make sure of that, let's move on to our next slide. Okay, we were just talking about animals that live with humans. We have an episode of Lingo Hack which addresses some problems to do with this, right, Catherine?
Yes, it's all about the trade in baby elephants between zoos. And to find out more about that story, just click the link.
Great. Okay, let's have a look at that next article, please.
Yes, we're in the United States now with CNN. We have a snippet from an article and it goes like this. The study details how events such as a triathlon, the marathon, tennis and rowing could be adversely impacted by hot conditions.
Adversely. Negatively. Catherine, what can you tell us about adversely?
Okay, well, we spell it A-D-V-E-R-S-E-L-Y. It's an adverb and it means the same as negatively. If something's adversely affected or adversely impacted, it's negatively impacted or affected.
So what this sentence is saying is that the athletes in Tokyo could be negatively affected by the heat, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Bad things will happen as a result of the heat.
So they could experience adverse effects, right?
That's right, yes, adverse effects, yes. And we also, that's the adjective form, A-D-V-E-R-S-E. We have a noun form, adversity, which it means negativity.
Negativity, yes. So I suppose if the athletes in the Olympics are met with adversity, it means kind of negativity or negative conditions.
Definitely, yes. And that's a very nice little fixed phrase. To be met with adversity means to experience negative conditions.
And we do have one other noun form, right, which can be used to describe a person.
Yes, adversary, somebody who is your opponent, either in a competition or just generally somebody who you're always kind of up against, competing with. Adversary, your opponent.
So one of my British sporting heroes, Tyson Fury, the boxer, he would go in the ring to compete against his adversary,
yes,
his opponent.
Great. Exactly.
Okay, now before we adversely affect this broadcast, let's take a look at our summary slide, please. Wonderful. Catherine, can you recap today's vocabulary for us, please?
Of course, we had mean, average, tame, control something which was once wild, and adversely, which means negatively.
Okay, don't forget, if you want to test yourself on today's vocabulary, we have a quiz at the website, which is bbclearningenglish.com. And I'm sure you know that we are all over social media as well. So do get in touch. That's it from us today. Thanks for joining us and goodbye.
Goodbye.